Hi, it's Catherine Sandland from White Hart Training. One of the questions that I often get asked is about Q&A, where to place it and how to handle it. And they're two fantastic questions about questions. And let's just deal in this short vlog about where to put them. Convention typically says that they go at the end of a talk, and that's quite a good place to have them. It means that people have got the opportunity to ask you questions to make sure that they go away and they've understood what you have said. There is a problem with them going at the end, which is either that you get this rather embarrassing silence at the end when nobody asks any questions, and that means that that lovely, well-crafted, energetic, engaging presentation sort of slides away to nothing. So that is a bit of a problem. And it also means, especially if you've done maybe a complex or maybe technical type of presentation, that we've left it right to the very end for people to make clarification. And that might have meant that they've not really understood what's been said. And they're having to then go backwards and try and work it out. So it's not always the right place to put them at the end. But if you do put them at the end, then where you place them in that conclusion, that final conclusion, is absolutely critical. So let's just think about some alternatives. If you are doing one of those complex technical types of presentations, you might choose to have a number of different question times dotted along and throughout your talk, so that if you've delivered a particular piece and you want to make sure that they've understood that, then you might introduce question and answer time then. And you probably preface it, you probably prime it, signpost it by saying, before we move on to the next bit, do you have any questions on the bit that I've just covered? And then that way, you know that everybody's on the same page, everybody has the same understanding before you move on to or add to their knowledge. So that's also very good for those of you who might deliver training or run seminars as well. The other piece around where do you place Q&A is, if you are going to use it at the end, just make sure it's not the very last thing that you say. So in another vlog, I've talked about the power of a final thought, and your Q&A should always go before your final thought. So you might need to signpost it or prime the audience by saying, before I leave you with my final thought, or before we finish fully for this afternoon, we've got time for some questions. And that way you've got a neat, contained Q&A session, followed by that thing, that statement, or those words that you want people to remember afterwards. So they remember that, not necessarily any of the ad hoc and on-the-cuff answers that you might give in Q&A. So I hope that's helpful, just to spark some ideas about where you might choose to put Q&A in your talks.